Hello and welcome to Just One More Watch, and welcome today to the review of yet another cracking affordable chronograph. July is turning into chrono month. Today though, it's not a new model, it's a twist on a watch that I'm sure will be familiar to most people watching. It's the latest Legacy Edition Sea-gull 1963 from sea-gull1963.com. Now before we go on, you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by sea-gull1963.com. I will leave a link to the listing for this watch on their website in the description of the video, of course. It went on sale yesterday, but I don't think you need to rush to find your wallet, if indeed you still own such a thing, and I'll explain why. This is a collector's watch. Even the people selling it are marketing it as a collector's watch. Now I realise that most of us would describe ourselves as watch collectors, but this is not just for the person who has a substantial collection, it's for the person who has a substantial collection of Sea-gull 1963s, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 of the things already. If I'm describing you, then hey, go find that wallet. If not, then stick around, have a good look at this one, and then decide if it's something that you'll enjoy. So, what is a Legacy Edition 1963 then, and why should you care about it? Well, apparently it is now 70 years since the Chinese watch industry began in earnest. Originally called the YOUU watch factory, then the Tianjin watch factory, that company evolved into what we currently know as Sea-gull. And the company we currently know as Sea-gull is the world's largest single manufacturer of mechanical movements, producing several million units each year. Clearly something worth celebrating then. But the people celebrating are sea-gull1963.com, who are based in Antwerp, Belgium. And the watch they've chosen to celebrate it with is not made by Sea-gull directly, but by Red Star. And it's not even 70 years old, it's only 62 years old. It kinda sounds like they were looking for a reason to have a party and came up with all of that lot. Anyway, this isn't the first limited edition that I have looked at by sea-gull1963.com. I reviewed a bronze limited edition a couple of years ago that I thought again was a bit of a must-have for collectors of these watches. Now the bronze watch, they only made 750 and they sold out very quickly. The watch on my wrist today, they're making 1,500, so perhaps there's not quite the same imperative to buy one during launch week. I've got to say though, it's a tidy package overall. The first 500 of the 1,500 watches sold will come with this commemorative book going into the thought process behind the design process. That's very nice, but I'm not sure why they didn't extend that courtesy to all 1,500 purchasers, frankly. There is a Legacy Edition operating manual, a little pouch, there's a 2-year warranty card, and a UV torch. I'm sure you can guess what that's for, and if you can't guess what that's for, I'll show you what it's for a bit later on. So what are this watch's USPs then, other than the fact that they're only making 1,500 of them? Well, they describe them as a reimagining of a 1963, which, to be honest, is a bit of a stretch, but it certainly has enough going on to separate it from a standard model. The hands on these ones, for example, are blued as opposed to blue, so proper thermally blued hour and minute hand. The 2 sub-registers are very slightly recessed and feature a number of concentric circles, giving them a dynamic sunburst style effect. Talking of sunburst, the whole dial has quite a pronounced radial brushing, and it has beautiful copper and rose gold tones coming through depending on the light conditions. And the applied numerals and arrowhead indices also have a matte rose gold copper finish to them as well. But the real party piece is the moon phase complication, tucked in just above the index at 6. This watch features a Sea-gull caliber ST1908, which has a genuine 29.5 days moon phase complication. This movement is therefore the world's most affordable mechanical moon phase chronograph movement. Now you can find it in other Chinese watches for less money than sea-gull1963.com are charging for this one, but they don't have the backstory and the limited edition appeal of this Sea-gull. Dimensions then, well, there are at least 3 different sizes of 1963 available. This one is in the middle of the bunch at 40mm in diameter. Thickness is 15.2. Now that is thicker than the standard 40mm 1963, I would imagine because of the extra height of the movement caused by the moon phase complication. But they've done something really interesting here. They've shrunk the lug-to-lug down to only 46mm from the 50mm of the original. So it looks like a 40, but in some ways it wears like a 38. Because it's the 40 though, it does have 20mm lugs. 50 meters of water resistance is a 20-meter bonus on the 30 that you normally get with these watches. Crystal is box dome sapphire, and weight as supplied here is 77 grams. And we've already discussed the movement, it's the ST1908. If you're an affordable collector and you don't have an ST19 in a box somewhere, what have you been collecting? 10 years ago, you could only really find these in Seagulls. Nowadays, Baltics, Studio Underdogs, and a whole bunch of other stuff besides all use a version of this movement. This is the first time that I've seen a 1908 though, and I think it's the most decorated ST19 that I've ever seen, with extra blued screws, it's got the swan neck regulator, and some golden filled engraving on that bridge there. This may be a bit of a fossil dating all the way back to the 1940s, but there's seemingly plenty of life in the old girl yet. All these watches are individually numbered, by the way. As you can see, this one is number 4 of 1500. Now, every single ST19 that I have owned or reviewed in the past, they all wind slightly differently. Some are rougher, some are smoother, some are quieter, some are noisier. This one is actually both smooth and quiet, which is nice. Case finish. I can describe the case finish in 2 words. High polish. There's no brushing anywhere on the watch at all. The fixed bezel is high polished, the screw-in case bag is high polished, the lugs are high polished, the flanks are high polished, and the chrono pushers are also high polish. You can see an extra little pusher at the 8. That helps you adjust the moon phase without having to spin the hour hand round and round and round and round for up to 28.5 days at a time. There's a Red Star logo on the crown as well as on the dial and that bridge. It is a nice strap though, brown suede with quick release spring bars and matching high polished hardware, again with the Star logo on it. It is super soft straight out the box, and I think it's a lovely tonal match for the dial. Oddly enough, I keep my own 1963 on a tonally very similar handmade brown leather strap. Dial and hands, we've had a good look already, but let's zoom in with some macro. It really is rather pretty with the sunburst and the rose gold accents on this particular version. And the moon phase is nicely integrated on the bottom half of the dial, but I'm not quite sure how necessary the 0 to 29.5 text is though. Does anyone actually use a moon phase to track the moon? And if they do, surely they know that already? The biggest change from the regular 1963 though is the concentric circle work on the 2 normal sub-registers, the 30-minute chrono timer at the 3 and the 60 seconds timer at the 9. They really pop as a consequence in a way that they simply don't on a regular 1963. Now there is actually some loom here with seagull1963.com even providing that small UV torch in with the package. I'm going to make you wait a little bit longer before I show you it though. On wrist it wears very nicely. In fact, it may well be the best case size variant of any 1963 that I've come across. Those short lug to lugs really transform the way this case wears. You kind of get the best of both worlds, if you see what I mean. You get a case diameter and a lug width that most people would prefer over the 3818, but with essentially the same level of wearability. And that strap definitely enhances the whole package. I wonder if we will see this case rolled out by the company again across a broader range of 1963s. Look, if you have bigger wrists, then you may be better served with one of the longer lug-to-lug versions, but that's not to say you won't enjoy this one just as much instead. Legibility is never amazing with these hands. They're very, very slender, but the blue does at least provide a decent bit of contrast against the rose gold. Alright then, moans and niggles, I've got a few kind of rapid fire complaints for you with this one. 1500 is not actually all that limited, certainly not compared to the 750 of the bronze version that I reviewed previously. There is loom on the moon phase, but no loom on any of the hands. I know that's cute, but it's also a bit weird and pretty much useless, because after dark, if you want to see the phase of the moon, don't you just look up? And a manual wind moon phase is surely a unique form of torture. If you care enough about the complication, then you are obliged to keep the watch running by winding it approximately every 30 odd hours to ensure that every 29.5 days that moon rotates fully. The ST19 is an 80-year-old Swiss movement mass-produced cheaply in China. The failure rate on these is not the same as a Seiko or a Miyota, so they are not actually the best choice of movements if you're going to wear the watch as a daily. And at €479, that's roughly $560 US, it is considerably more expensive than your common or garden AliExpress Sea-gull 1963 by a factor of about 5. And as discussed, this watch purportedly celebrates the birth of the Chinese watch industry, and there is, I guess, a direct thread to that original company because of the movement in this one, but it's not made by Sea-gull, it's made by Red Star, and it's sold by Belgians. So I will end this video how I started this video by saying that as nice as this watch is, it really is one for hardcore collectors. I'm not sure how many people will buy this because it's a 70th anniversary celebration piece. I'm not sure how many people will buy it as their first 1963, given the price gulf between it and the basic model. I think that people who buy this will be collectors of 63s and already have a few of them. Perhaps they bought that bronze one a couple of years ago as well. With its rose gold dial, its copper indices and its moon phase complication, it may not be the most authentic incarnation of the 1963 that I've ever seen, but arguably it's the prettiest that I've ever seen, and I think that, rather than its limited edition status, is what will actually sell this watch. So there you have it, well done for making it all the way to the end of the video. I said July was chrono month, why not check out another couple of videos I've made already about chronos. Thanks for watching this one, I'll see you in the next one.